This week's hot topic is inspired from Nikki's suggestion, and that is about what prevents people from going to gigs. And this was brought up because predominantly parking was a concern for you at one thing recently. But I guess go through what your thinking was in that.
Yeah, just sometimes when you go to a gig, it's really off-putting when there's a venue that you just know that you're going to waste probably 40 minutes driving around in the back streets trying to find a park that's not permit only. Oh, don't even get me started on permit parking. And if it's not easily accessible by transport either, it just makes it really, really off-putting. So unless it's a band I'm absolutely in love with or have to go to, it would be a deterrent for me to go to a certain gig if it was at some certain venues, which is really sad.
Mm.
But I do love supporting live music, but there are certain venues where I just go, nah, too hard.
Fair enough.
Yeah, parking can be a pain in the ass sometimes. There are some venues that are very convenient with parking right next to it. But it was a band I really wanted to see. It wouldn't be a problem. It's more a term of how many bands in the lineup. I want to see if there's a really good lineup. I'm not going to miss it, so you put in the effort to get in there. Apart from that, some people hate certain venues, but it's more about the bands that are playing there. I don't have any gripe against any particular venue. So apart from that, just accessibility.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. It's good to see now they're talking about actually changing a law to have loading zones for musos. Which is bloody handy, you know. Being a muso, although not a very good one, there's nothing worse than having to haul a cab, down the street somewhere, or wheels, or some bloke drops it. Yeah,
it was a bump.
Yeah. So look, that's probably a good thing, and at least it's positive. I mean, here in Melbourne, I think we're lucky enough that they do try, where they can, to keep the live music thing going. Although, a lot of the times it does feel like they're on a hiding to nothing. Yeah, people will blame a lot of things, costs and, proximity and what have you. Our friend, of course, Wayne's got the issue. He's always needs somewhere where he can sit. So that's important with him before he can choose a venue. So, look, everyone's got their little pet hates, and going to gigs isn't always easy. I mean, we're all music fans and, but I still get caught on the couch sometimes at 8 o'clock planning on going to a gig and going, it's cold. So
you're saying the weather's a deterrent for you?
Oh, absolutely.
It can be. Yeah, if the weather's gone to shit, it can be. And it's a shit excuse, but sometimes that's all you need. Like, if you're not absolutely crawling over yourself to get out there, if the weather's bad, I've seen this band before, bugger, I'll stay home.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, venues do have to do everything in their power to make it as easy and accessible as possible, because there are a lot of things that can turn you away.
I think it's a multitude of factors that stop people from going to gigs. One is they don't know the music half the time, which is a problem with the media. The other one is exactly what you're saying, the accessibility. So if it's public transport or if it's parking, those are actually very big concerns. We've done things, particularly with our extravaganzas, it's been a case of making sure there's been parking or public transport accessibility to the venue. It's actually critically important to factor that in. Especially when you're putting on like a 10-band event. It's a big thing, because no one's going to drive home afterward, at least not safely. Fuck. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like we see with the football, even the numbers for the football turnout drop dramatically as soon as it gets cold. Now I understand it's an outdoors event more, but it still affects Etihad Stadium, or what's going to be Marvel Stadium in the future. Like it affects those things too. I think the bands can do a lot more in promotion-wise, so much people are aware of the gigs, but at the same time, they need to sell their music, which is all about the social media use, which we've covered before. But I think for venues, it's a hard task. Like the load-in issue, it's hopefully going to be resolved. Also, the agent of change coming in to effect will be a good thing for venues as well. But none of those things really impact the punter going to the gig, and it's like you said, we're all guilty. I guarantee everyone out there is guilty of sitting there going, you know what, it's too late, I'm too tired, it's all this sort of stuff. I think if we can bring in more open age events, so bringing more underage events into play would be a good way around that. Because parking and public transport, a venue is virtually powerless to do anything about that at all. It's more about, okay, what can you make it so it's an incentive to make it easier to go. So if you can take your kids, that's one big tick. If you can...
Also, though, if you're not living on the tram line, it's hard. Because even to train at night...
It's not ideal.
It's not brilliant. No one likes going home at 2 in the morning, 3 parts cut,
Yeah.
You know, it's not a safe environment for anyone, unfortunately.
And the other side to that is I actually do drive to a lot of gigs because of that exact reason. We all know where I live. I'm not catching a train there, no thank you.
Yeah.
Which means I'm not spending money at the bar. Like, I'll pay the door charge and I'll always buy merch and stuff, but I'm not spending the money I could be, and believe me, I can spend a lot of money at the bar.
Yes, we know this.
Mickey.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying is that's another thing to factor in as well. It's like,
Which in turn hurts the venue's bottom line if people can't get there. And so it's a big challenge. And the only way around that would be, like, one thing you could do is try and organise, which is a lot of work again, but it is something that's feasible at least, is to organise sort of bus hire type things, or if the bands and the venues work together to organise, if everyone gets to this place at this time, we'll get you a bus from this, and then we'll finish at this time. And that means the gigs have to run on time as well. It has to be a pretty well-oiled machine. But also making it so that it's more... So bands need to work out how to make their gigs more of an event, so space their gigs out further apart in location and in time, but also make it so that there's something about your gig that's a point of difference. Don't just have it as just another gig, because when it's just another gig, it's too easy to sit there with Netflix on your iPad and go, no, fuck it, I'm going to stay inside tonight.
It's harder because it's weight of numbers. You know, for people who are coming, it's easy to make an investment to make it easier. But if they're not coming, it's hard to justify any expense.
Yeah.
You know, because even when James Young was running Yayas at the same time, he actually had a shuttle bus running between the two.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool idea. It didn't last long.
No.
You know, because just the numbers weren't there. You know, I thought it was a really cool thing. It was an interesting initiative, but obviously didn't work.
I think that would be too clashing with themselves, because whatever's on a Cherry Bar is probably going to be similar to what's on at Yaya at the same time, and so you're not really going to be helping yourself too much in that regard. That's probably why that folded. If you had two completely diverse things on, or if one was going much later than the other one, that'd be a different point. But so you'd have one, like if Yaya's closes at 1 and Cherry is open till 4, you'd have one bus there at 1 o'clock to take everyone to Cherry. It's a simple way of doing it. So things like charter buses is still, I think, a feasible option if you get it, because I know that
pokey venues in country towns do it.
I've done pub crawls in country towns with you know, birthdays and stuff going on, get out in the middle of nowhere.
That's a ripper.
And it's great fun. You hire a bus and away you go, and it's awesome. You go literally hundreds of kilometres, but it's a great time. I think it's a hard thing, because now we're trying to work out how to make it so that people want to go to a gig. And that's it comes down... I think if you make it interesting enough and different enough, people will go, regardless of all the constraints. Those constraints get in the way, but people are savvy enough to work it out. If one person drives this time around and there's a carload, they'll all get wasted, and then the next time around, that person gets the time off. And you rotate it through... Same old carpooling routine. Those things do come into effect. Yeah. People do that. So if you get that sort of stuff, like in the event pages, it might be an idea to set up little carpool chat threads.
That's actually a really cool idea. Like, I could probably name 5 people from Frankston who were at that gig Friday night, and one of them I actually drove beside on the Peen Highway. Hey, Jim, how are you?
What's the
point of that? Venue. Yeah.
And so, we all have separate cars.
So if people start to organise amongst themselves, if you know people are going to a gig and you know you're all sort of local to each other, actually start a community out of this thing, and it might help that along, and that in turn, with the venue and the band supporting it, and then with making, you know, points of difference, not just make it another gig by doing what you can to make that might try and mitigate that somewhat. There's no one clean, quick fix to it, but I think there are things that can be looked at to make a bit of a difference. But
for sure.
But that's our point of view. What about you guys out there in the wider world? You guys are obviously much more aware of it, I guess, than we are, because we're all invested in the scene. What about the regular punter out there that's not as keen to go? What puts you off from going to a gig, and what would you like to see happen to make you more interested in going to a gig? Let us know your thoughts out there.